Well, hello, it's Karen McDermott Rolfe, independent advisor with Creative Memories, and I am back with my monthly technique layout and challenge. I'm going to share a scrapbooking technique with you, and then I'm going to challenge all of you to use the technique to create a layout and then share a photo of your layout with me in my Facebook group, Karen's Croppers, for an entry into my monthly door prize drawing. Please enter your photo or add your photo to the album titled Technique Tuesday number 48. So that means there are 48 different technique albums in Karen's Croppers. So it's a great wealth of ideas and inspiration, a great reference library in the album section of Karen's Croppers. You can also follow me at my blog at KarenCrops.com, and I so appreciate any of your purchases through my Creative Memories website link at creativememories.com/user/Karen, and it's Karen with the Y. And I offer a generous customer rewards program also. So let's take a look at the technique that I'm sharing for the month of June here. This is not a new technique, but it's just a technique that I haven't done in a while. And so I just kind of wanted to remind all of you about this technique, or it might be brand new for some of you also. But what I've done is I've folded my paper and I've punched through 2 layers with the Border Maker system using a knockout style punch to create this really interesting punched border treatment on my layout here. So this technique is going to only work with the knockout style Border Maker cartridges. And these knockout style cartridges punch a design right off of your paper, or right into your paper, I should say. It does not punch a design on the edge. So there's no decorative edge when you punch these punches. So you're going to want to look for a knockout style. So we've had many of these over the years. Right now I'm going to show examples using 2 of our current knockout style Border Maker cartridges. This is the Ancient Key. Okay, Ancient Key Border Maker cartridge that I used for my layout here with the Tropic Time collection. So this is paper and some embellishments from the Tropic Time collection. I also used the Monstera Leaves border punch to punch some additional borders to fill the space here on the top and the sides. Okay. For the example that I'm going to create here with you on the video, I'm going to use the Chevron Arrows Border Maker cartridge. So it's the Chevron Arrow Border Maker cartridge. So you can see it's just going to knock out that pattern without punching the edge of my paper. Okay. And for this example, I'm going to use the Set Up Camp collection. So that's the Set Up Camp collection. And I think I'm going to start with this sheet of brown paper. It kind of looks like bark a little bit. And although I don't have any camping photos, this is a super cute collection, and I'm using it for hiking photos. So a few of the stickers and embellishments are a little bit specific to camping, and some of the paper too, but you know, the paper is always double-sided. So, you know, here's, for example, the back side does have some campers and different things here on this, but I could see where this piece of paper could be used for, you know, staying at a lodge, renting a cabin. It doesn't really need to be camping specific, but I'm going to use it for the brown side. So to start, I'm going to use my 12-inch trimmer, and I'm going to use the perforating blade. Okay, so I'm going to change it out. I have the perforating blade here. Now, if you don't have the perforating blade, you can use the scoring blade, okay, as a substitute, scoring. So I'm going to talk about this in a minute, okay, about the difference between the two, but I'm going to use the perforating blade. So let me demonstrate how to get this started, and then I will talk about that in a second. So I'm going to place my paper on the trimmer at 3 inches. 3 inches. And I'm just going to give it one run with the perforating blade. Now I don't want to press super hard because I don't want to cut through the paper. Okay, I just want to perforate it. And now I'm going to turn it on its side, and I'm going to place it in at 3 inches again. And then again, I'm going to give it another run here with the perforating blade. Also, I'm not pressing super hard because I don't want it to cut all the way through. I really kind of just want to score it so it's easy to fold. So that's why the scoring blade would be a good substitute, you know, because it would score it, and we're going to get some nice even folds by doing that. So once we have it, you can go ahead and start on either side. Just fold one of them over gently. Again, we don't want to tear the perforations off, okay? We want to preserve this as a full sheet. So I'm going to stick it in my Border Maker system now into the tray. I'm going to close the arm, and I'm going to move the tray around the back. And then for this example, I'm using that Chevron Arrows Border Maker cartridge. And I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to punch down the entire side. Now I'm punching through 2 layers of paper because I folded that over, right? Please do not use this technique with cardstock. Cardstock will be too heavy to punch through 2 layers with the Border Maker system, and there's a good chance you could get your cartridge jammed up. So I only recommend using the designer or the tonal paper for this. So now when we open it up, you can see what's happened here. I've punched this beautiful border right, you know, into my paper. So it's not right on the edge, it's in further because I folded it there at that 3-inch mark. So kind of cool, huh? So we could leave it just like this and use it to make a layout, just as it is, okay? So that's one variation. My variation that I'm going to show, we're going to punch it on the upper side again. So we're going to fold it now on the second perforation line, or the second score line. And again, we're going to put it into the tray of the Border Maker cartridge. And we're going to punch. But now we don't want to punch all the way down. We do not want to over punch the part here that is already punched out, okay? So we're going to punch 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and now we're right there where it's meeting this the second line of punches there. And I'm going to skip this one, and I'm going to put it in the last notch, and I'm going to punch one more time. That's where the 3-inch measurement worked out really nicely with this, because the 3-inch differential there gives it that spacing so you're not over punching with the design. I tried it at different measurements, and the 3 inches is what worked really nicely for this. And now we're going to fold it open. So let's talk a minute about why I use the perforating blade and not the scoring blade. Let me get my original layout. So for this layout, I did the scoring blade. I just scored it, I folded it, and punched it. And then when I taped it down, those fold lines were very prominent. It was very prominent on this light tonal paper, and I really didn't care for that too much. Now, it might not bother you, so that could be okay. Or you could cut a thin, narrow strip and cover up the fold lines there if you like. But what I did with this one is I went over it, over the folded score line with the perforating blade to give it that dimension in the little perforating. Let me see if I can pull it up close. So now instead of seeing just this fold line, I'm seeing a perforated design, you know, a textured perforated line that I like. You know, it looks more intentional, like I've wanted to use that stitching effect, that perforation texture. So for this layout, I didn't even use the scoring blade. I just used the perforating blade to go ahead and get those nice little stitched lines that are going to become, you know, a decorative element of the layout. So now what I want to do is, like I did with this one, I overlaid it on another sheet of paper. So, you know, I've got the designs really going to pop up, and then it's going to give me an edge around the side too. If you'd like, you know, you could just put some strips of paper behind the punched borders and leave it at that. But I'm going to cut it down a little bit because at 3 inches, I mean, these are pretty wide borders, right? And it doesn't leave us a whole lot of space for photographs or anything. And we do need to remember that that's the whole purpose here, is to scrapbook our photos. So I am going to just take off a little bit here from both of these sides that have the border punched on it. So I'm going to make this space narrower and this space up here narrower by taking off a 1/2 inch. So I've got this edge here on the 1/2 inch line, and I'm going to, whoops, now I needed to trade it out there with my straight blade, didn't I? There we go. And I'm going to turn it on this side, and I'm going to cut it a 1/2 inch also. Now I can see here with my pattern, it's going to cut right in between these little chevron pieces. So I might use the sight guides here on the trimmer. This is the clear little guides, I guess, that are in the top and the bottom part of the trimmer arm. And they have a little black line on them. And that little black line is exactly where your blade is going to cut. So if I want to try to arrange this paper so I can cut right in between one of these little chevrons, I could do that. It might be a little hard to do that since it's such a narrow piece. I did do that when I cut this layout down. I was able to cut it right in between where the pattern is. So you can see that it left off with, you know, instead of a pair of these keys, I have just one. And I have one up here, a single one, again, instead of the pair. Okay, and I cut those using that the sight guides to get that precision cut. And it worked out to be about a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to just take a look here. If I really want to get in between these little chevrons, I just need to just scooch the paper over just a smidge. So it's just a little smidge less than a 1/2 inch. But you can see how then when I cut it, I've preserved that full chevron. Over here, I didn't do that. I just measured it at a 1/2 inch and see it kind of cut off the top, the little tips of the chevrons. That's okay. And now I have a sheet of paper that's going to be my background. Now I did a little cutting on this already to conserve some of the paper. So I cut out this portion here to preserve it to use later because I really like the plaid side. I wanted to save some of this plaid to use again. And it's just going to be covered up. So see, when I lay this on top, what's going to happen? I'm going to get that really great pop of that really great green color all around the edge. And look at how that pattern just really pops by that. And then I've covered up the hole I cut out to conserve paper. So then I would go ahead at this point and I would adhere it down. And I would recommend using the repositional tape. And when I do it, I'm going to put a little bit kind of on some of these chevrons so they don't get bent or torn. And also again on these perforation lines so they don't fall apart on me later. But I don't think they really will. So then to finish this layout, here's what I'm thinking to do. I already have some hiking photos cropped to fit in the space. And I'm using the tangerine cardstock. This is one of our new colors. It's going to coordinate nicely with this collection. And it coordinates nicely with some of the colors here in the embellishment piece. So I have this little embellishment piece here I can do journaling on. And now I could leave it like this, but I thought that, you know, these are pretty wide spaces, right? And on my original layout, I filled those wide spaces with the Monstera Leaves border punch, right? So I was just thinking, you know, what can I do with this? I could do something similar. We have the other leaf punch. I could do a leaf punch out and put there. But I also looked at the sticker strips that come with the Setup Camp collection. And I'm thinking that I'm going to go ahead and maybe use those and those sides there. It's going to bring a little bit more color to the layout because these stickers have, the pink. It's got that tangerine color. There's another shade of green and the brown. So I liked bringing a little bit more color to this layout. And then I have some other embellishments here that I think I'm going to do something like this for a title. And that is going to be my layout. What do you guys think? Cool. So I think this is a great technique, and I can't wait to see all the different variations that you come up with by using the different knockout punches that we've had. We've had so many over the years that I think, you know, in Karen's Croppers, in that album where you're going to share your photos, we're going to see a great range, a great variety of examples using different cartridges and different paper. So that's what's so great about all the sharing there. And then again, just taking a look at this original one and how I finished that. And it's very easy to make this into a double page spread. I know a lot of you guys like to scrap in double pages. So you just repeat it on a second pair of paper, bottom up, and you have your double page layout. All right, everybody. I hope you're inspired. I hope you give this technique a try, and I hope you share a photo of your layout with me there in the album in Karen's Croppers. Thanks so much for visiting with me today, and happy scrapping.